3.5 minutes by my watch, and the computer says 4, so we'll go with the computer time.
Tim's here, and I got a message from Gail that she is just logging on. I'm gonna just real quick unmute Jackie Coney, another citizen, to make. Jackie, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, all right, just checking, and we're about.
Jim, how's Mom doing?
Hand up there, John, or Jim.
What? What's that?
It looks like you got a hand up there. I know.
Yep. Yeah, just a second. I'm getting a couple other things here.
Mr. Frisbee, can you hear me?
Just a second here.
Let's see where he's at.
John Steers, I see you raised a hand and then you've lowered the hand. I'm not sure if you wanted to say something. We've got about a minute here.
Where's that Hawaiian background, Colin? You're back from the South, huh?
Remember, tonight, all votes and those type of things are all by roll call. So
I think we're down to about 30 seconds before we start the meeting, according to my watch.
all right, give me one quick second, Bill.
Yep. I'll let you roll up that United States flag so we can start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Well, just a
When
second.
we see that on the screen, we'll be just about ready to kick off the meeting.
I might have a in my.
Uh-oh. Not.
I have
started screen sharing.
I don't know if you can see it. I believe I have the flag screen shared. If someone can confirm, I see thumbs up on a couple people.
Yep.
Okay, Mr. Adams, it is 7 o'clock if you desire to start.
I'm thinking he froze up.
I think he's
Mr.
frozen time.
Mr. Adams, can you hear me?
He's not moving.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and get this started. I'll just take the lead on this, and when Bill gets back in, we'll get going.
Sounds good, Tim.
Are we ready? I pledge allegiance
which
to
is
the
to the
flag
flag
of
of
the
the
of the
United
United States of
America,
America
and
and
to the
to the
republic
republic
for which it
for
for which
stands,
it stands,
stands
one
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 nation,
nation,
under God,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty
indivisible,
and justice
with
with
for all.
liberty
liberty
and justice
and
for all.
justice for all.
I don't think he's back yet.
No, he'll try to back in. What I can do, Mr. Frisbee, is give me one
We'll
second.
just take this moment right now to take a moment of silence. And Jim, if you don't mind, we'll do roll call, please.
Just trying to get my screen fixed. Yes, roll call. Mr. Frisbee,
Here,
Mr. Holmes,
Yes.
Mrs. Reister,
Yes,
Trustee Merrill,
Here.
Trustee Bailey,
Here. Here.
okay, Trustee Keller,
Here.
and Mr. Adams, I think, is still working on some technical difficulties. We'll know when he comes back in.
well, we have an agenda in front of us. Everybody's had an opportunity to review the agenda. And Mr. Mallory, are there any changes to be made to it?
I do have the agenda up, and there is one addition to the village manager's report. Will be section E, and it'll cover building inspections, the services related to building permits and building inspections. 10 or 11E, E Edward.
So we have a roll call. Do we take a motion to approve the agenda as presented, as written?
Trustee Keller, so moved.
Trustee Keller has moved
Reister support.
and
Do we have we have an agenda in front of us. I didn't see anybody else on any public official scheduled for tonight.
No.
We need a roll call vote, point of order.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, we have a motion by Trustee Keller and supported by Trustee Reister. The roll call vote will be Trustee Frisbee,
Yes.
Trustee Holmes,
Yes.
Trustee Reister,
Yes,
Trustee Merrill,
Yes.
Trustee Bailey,
Yes.
Trustee Keller,
Yes.
and Mr. Adams.
Yes.
And Mr. Adams is okay.
And I'd like to
I'll
let,
turn it back over to you, Bill.
no, you're good practice here, Tim. You're actually just go right ahead and I'll help if needed be.
All right.
Mr. Frisbee, if I can, we do have citizen comments for agenda items next, but I do want to make note when we hit the general consent agenda, staff recognize some things on the minutes that I'll bring to your attention, but we'll be at number 8 right now of citizen comments for agenda items.
If there's any citizens on the call that at the bottom of your screen, you see it pop up, just raise your hand and make yourself known. We'll give you some time.
John Spears. Can anybody hear me?
Yes,
John.
John Steers.
I can hear you, John. Just one quick second, John. Have to make sure the Zoom on one thing. So, okay, John, go ahead.
At the Planning Commission meeting, it was brought forward that the booze area that is about to be proposed, never before in the history of this village, was going to be something that was supposedly going to be markedly different at Christmas time. So that it would be family friendly at Christmas time, and that we would, proposed by our engagement director, that this would be a time where we would cut down on the boozing and everything that might be going on downtown. I really, it's got to be the most ridiculous statement that I've ever heard in terms of any one time of the year being a time where we have to cut the booze off so everybody can be family friendly. If you can't control people to be family friendly every single time that you have this event or every single day that you make it, then it probably isn't a good idea to do this. Christmas time does not make a bit of difference to most people. Furthermore, it was put forward that they did not want the areas spreading like tentacles throughout the community. And it was even brought forward that the alleys between the drinking establishments should be off limits in these little small areas, and that it had to be a compact area. But at the same time, somebody went and decided that, well, but for the folks there at the mill who, are building this mill, with no competitive bid, and for the folks in Kalamazoo County had to pay $1 million to put a roof on it. Hey, that's okay. We can let that tentacle spread right through the middle of the village and right to the mill. So I think you're pretty much talking out both sides of your mouth as you consider this tonight. And I'm sorry, but hopefully somebody's timing me, because if I go long, please somebody interrupt me on my 3 minutes. But I also want to talk about the 96 people that the South County Sewer and Water Authority are going to add onto Sprinkle Road through their engineering project estimate that they put forward about a month ago. Where are these 96 people going to come out of thin air when South County Sewer and Water Authority only has 8 people presently between TU Avenue and the Nash Street interceptor? And how in the world are you going to put this bias once again and say you are not going to put everybody on Sprinkle Road on sewer, or try to anyway, using your clerk, who is our unelected supervisor, to pass it through? So I'm probably entering my 3 minutes, but
You are
please
indeed in your 3 minutes, and you've also
please stay
gone
tuned
a
for
little
the
bit off
sewer
track,
talk.
sir. You're now addressing non-agenda items, and this time wasn't meant for that. So, but we appreciate your input.
We have Tim, another citizen, Jackie
Jackie?
Coney. Yep.
Hi, thanks. This is Jackie Coney, 234 West Highway Street, and also representative of the Mill at Vicksburg and a few downtown properties. And I hear, Mr. Steers, some things you were saying that aren't actually accurate. So if you'd like to talk to me anytime, I'd be happy to. The county did not pay $1 million for any roofs, and anyone was open to bid on the mill property. So happy to talk to you at any time. But the reason I wanted to talk today was about an agenda item, the social district, as well, like Mr. Steers did. And I would like to argue that I think it's fantastic that the village is actually thinking about this. It's a really progressive, great idea that other places are taking on and seeing great results from. And just last week, we had a little bit of an art walk with the Prairie Run Artist Residency, where we had a few buildings open for, not buildings open, but there was art and windows throughout the village, and people could come and look at the art, socially distanced, then talk to artists at Distant Whistle. And boy, it sure would have been great if, it would have been even better. I mean, we had probably, I think, at least 150 people, 200 people go throughout the 4 hours of time walking around downtown and then looking at art. And it would have been really neat if they had been able to have a drink with them, so they didn't have to either sit at the Distant Whistle and slam their drink to go then look at something, and just have some kind of communal time, you know, around people, socially distanced, of course. I'd also, I do think that, I know Mr. Steers is questioning the wintertime thing and the Christmas in the village. I too feel like it is a safe and great concept, and that maybe there shouldn't, I would like to think that we would do it during the winter too, because it might actually facilitate some more interesting community activities during the winter time. But I do understand that there's compromise and people are a little bit fearful of this new idea. So I understand why maybe alleys are left out and the mill is left out, or winter or something. I don't know what you guys are actually going to discuss or potentially approve, but I understand that there might be reasons to compromise at this first stage. So whatever you consider, though, I think it's a great, progressive, wonderful idea. So I just want to thank you for taking it on.
Thank you, Jackie. Yeah, I'll just say something real brief. I think it's being misunderstood, deliberation or making firm decisions. So everything we've talked about in the past has been just that, discussion, keeping it up front, open to the people, to the residents, quote, residents of this community. And from that, we derive our decision. No decision's been made. We were all just talking openly about the possibilities. So thank you for everybody's time, but we need to pay a little bit more attention to what's being said and what is being done. So moving on to that, we have 2 consent agendas we need to approve.
Yes, Mr. Frisbee, agenda item number 9 is approval of the general consent agenda. And I just wanted both the council and anyone on the call, the minutes that were distributed for the August 17th, it had, the record will reflect page 2 will have August 17th at the top, not July 13th. I think I caught the word format that continues to do that. So I just wanted to make that change to the minutes that it will accurately be reflected.
Do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
Move for approval of the minutes. Adams.
Are we approving the minutes or the general consent agenda?
General consent.
General consent agenda.
Consent agenda.
Thank you.
I support.
We have Mr. Adams with the motion and Trustee Reister with the support. Roll call vote for the approval of the general consent agenda. Mr. Frisbee,
Yes.
Trustee Holmes,
Yes.
Trustee Reister,
Yes.
Trustee Merrill,
Yes.
Trustee Bailey,
Yes.
Trustee Keller,
Yes.
President Adams.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Do we have the minutes for the special council meeting of August 31st? If all has had a chance to review and.
That would,
That was
That-
part of,
yeah, that'll be part of the general consent agenda motion that was just made and passed.
Oh, all right. Thank you very much for that clarification. So we move on to item 10, village council action items.
Yes, sir. And sure, the under item 10A, this is staff has recommended approval, but it is for the auditing firm Manor Custodian led by Aaron Stevens, who is in the 3rd year of an original 3-year contract to perform the auditing functions for the village. Staff is recommending the Village of Vicksburg extend the contract with this company for an additional 2 years. They will perform the audits for fiscal years ending June 30th, 2021 and June 30th, 2022. The cost of those individual audits will be $14,500 for 2021 and $15,100 for 2022. Those audits will also include the additional work of what is referred to as a single point audit. this is a requirement by the USDA involving our infrastructure loan. So that there is a slight increase, but it's specific to the auditing work that needs to be done on that federal loan. And I'll be happy to answer any questions the council might have.
Mr. Mallory, this is Trustee Holmes. Just one question. Is the $600 difference between the 2 years from 21 to 22, is that because there's going to be more work that's needed because of the loan, or?
I believe it's inflationary.
Okay.
I believe it's that 3.5% inflationary.
Just a comment for Mr. Holmes. This is Bill Adams. 6-8 years ago, we were paying about $35,000 for our audit. So this is still a good price as I see it.
Thank you, Mr. Adams.
Yep.
Do we need to take a vote for 10A individually?
We need a motion. Rick, are you doing the motion?
I'm sorry. Yes, I'd like to make a motion to authorize the village manager to enter into a contract with Manor Costarian that will extend auditing services by an additional 2 years for fiscal years 21 and 2022.
I support.
We have a motion by Trustee Holmes, supported by Ms. Reister. And now would be the time if there's a council discussion before roll call vote.
If you'd, hearing none, and Jim, if you'd take roll call.
Yes. On agenda item 10A, Adam, to enter into a 2-year extension for auditing services performed by Manor Costarian, led by Aaron Stevens. Trustee Frisbee.
Yes.
Trustee Holmes.
Yes.
Trustee Reister.
Yes.
Trustee Merrill.
Yes.
Trustee Bailey.
Yes.
Trustee Keller.
Yes.
President Adams.
Yes.
The motion passes. 10B Boy is a change order. At the August 17th, 2020 Village Council meeting, the Village Council approved entering into a contract with Wyoming Asphalt to repave the entryway in the Trillium neighborhood for $18,850. The request before you tonight as this agenda item is a change order request not to exceed an additional $5,500 on the contract approved last month. The reason for this change order is the fact that the residents at the entryway worked with DPW and they did some nice landscaping, if everyone's been there, and placed rocks around some existing bushes and trees that bushes or flowers that they wanted to save. The change created additional space that needed to be paved and put the appropriate, I think it's crushed 22A or appropriate compact under the new pavement. Total cost of the project will not exceed $24,350. It is funded entirely by the State of Michigan Act 51 local street dollars. We have balance in our local 51 or Act 51 local fund to pay for this improvement with cash. It will not add debt to the village. This request, if supported, will also provide the basis for a budget amendment to the 2021 fiscal year reflective in the 203 local street fund expense, that additional change order of $5,500. I truly believe we talked about the entryway into the community. When this is done, it will truly look very, very good. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Did we have a motion first?
Yep.
if the chair would like to take a motion on it.
Well, I'd like to have a little discussion over it. First, I just want some clarity on $5,500 addition, because when they bid this job, weren't the specifications all there? They had that area already set up and designed, didn't they, with it?
No, this was, we went back to the owners from the last meeting and multiple people in the neighborhood just to solicit additional feedback. And what changed from the original bid and original quote was the fact that around the sign is what was going to be left. But they left, and Randy might be able to help me on this, it's either 3 or 4 small areas that a group of neighbors in their landscape rocks, they're big, so it required some additional below the pavement, below the asphalt, and additional work there. But I really think on the input of the neighbors, and they've gotten that part completed. I think it's worth the investment, but that's the cause of it. There was a specific change on the original bid.
All right. With any other questions for Mr. Mallory on that?
Trustee Holmes, I would just like to thank Jim and Randy and staff for following up with the homeowners. For those that are on this call that remember this discussion, I believe on August 17th, this was a very robust discussion. We spent some time making sure that we considered the current homeowners and the needs of the village. And again, there was a lot of discussion around this and the fact that the plan changed and it's a little bit more. I agree with Trustee Frisbee. It raises a question, but by the same token, if you consider the input we sought and the ultimate product that we're going to have here, I feel good about it. And again, thank you for doing that, Jim.
Yeah, I will add real quick. None of our contacts, and it was an additional 6 or 8 individuals, were against this at all. They did have input. There was some timing issues, that type of thing. One request if their taxes were going to go up, which isn't the case, but pretty much everyone walked away satisfied. Everyone did walk away satisfied.
Thank you, Jim. I'd entertain a motion.
Trustee Keller, I make a motion to authorize the village manager signing a change order in the amount not to exceed $5,500 on the original contract to repave the entryway in the Trillium neighborhood.
We have a motion by Trustee Keller. Is there support?
Trustee Merrill, support.
And Trustee Merrill. Hearing no further comments, I'll take a roll call on agenda item 10B, Boy, on the change order not to exceed $5,500 on the original contract on the paving of the entryway into the Trillium neighborhood. Trustee Frisbee.
Yes.
Trustee Holmes.
Yes.
Trustee Reister.
Yes.
Trustee Merrill.
Yes.
Trustee Keller.
Yes.
Trustee Bailey.
Yes.
And President Adams.
Yes.
The motion passes. Item 10C is a contract with Peerless Midwest Incorporated to clean the village well number 5. It is a contract, a not to exceed contract, and the amount is $17,500. Village staff is recommending the village council to approve the village manager to enter into a contract with Peerless Midwest Incorporated to clean the village of Vicksburg water well number 5. This contract is for an amount that will not exceed $17,500. This well has been steadily losing capacity over the years and has needed to be cleaned multiple times in order to maintain its usefulness. It was last cleaned in 2014, and it was recommended then to be cleaned every 5 years. The well went online in 1965, and the gallons per minute was 703. In 2014, the year of the last cleaning, the gallons per minute was 536. A test conducted in 2020 indicated that the gallons per minute was 474. This creates a need to use more power to pump less gallons per minute. We believe that this action is urgent for the village to complete. There is sufficient dollars in our water fund, and this action will not increase utility rates associated with the water use.
And Tim, for a pump guy, the flow rates on that pump had maintained themselves pretty much constant for 5 years. And all of a sudden, we've lost about 60 gallons per minute, or about 15% on flow. So it's not
Do we
necessary.
have
Absolutely
records when the last
very-
time this was rebuilt?
Yeah,
It was last cleaned in 2014. The last rebuild on the pump and motor was 2011.
And at that time, did we get back up to the original specifications of 703?
There's some factors since 1965 in, I believe, the capacity of the motor was changed over 20 years ago that limited the gallons per minute.
yeah.
So it rechanged the ratings at that time to the well should be producing 500 gallons per minute.
So that's our anticipated flow rate is 536.
Yes.
After we clean it, we expect to be back up to that also.
Correct.
Okay, all right. And that's just a physical cleaning of the pump and the discharge column and
Chemical treatment to get rid of the chemicals on the screen, which are probably limiting the flow into the pump.
yeah.
Okay.
And I want to ask our DPW director, Mr. Skippers, he's had contact with Peerless on the specifics. Do you want to add to that, Randy?
Yeah, the rated capacity on that is 500 gallons per minute, and it is currently at 474 gallons per minute. But they do need do the treatment, but they'll physically pull all the guts out of that pump and take them back to their shop and refurbish or replace whatever needs to be done down inside there as well.
All the strainers and the screens and everything.
Everything, yes.
Okay. No, I'm good with it, and this will get an opportunity maybe to shake some manganese out of it.
I don't know about that.
I'm just. All right. Well, hey, any other discussions or questions of the team? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion for 10C.
I'll make that motion. Make the motion to authorize Mr. Mallory for signing a contract with Peerless Midwest to have the village water well number 5 cleaned to increase the gallons per minute.
This is Bill Adams. I'll support that.
Trustee Bailey on the motion and President Adams supporting it as President Pro Temp Frisbee is running the meeting.
Yep.
This will be on agenda item 10C to enter a contract with Peerless Midwest to clean well number 5 in an amount not to exceed $17,500. President Pro Temp Frisbee.
Yes.
Trustee Holmes.
Yes.
Trustee Reister.
Yes.
Trustee Keller,
Yes.
Trustee Merrill,
Yes.
Trustee Bailey,
Yes.
President Adams.
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. Item number 10D, David, is again with Peerless Midwest Incorporated. It's a contract to overhaul the pump and motor associated with the Village Water Well number 5. This is a contract not to exceed $25,100. Village staff is recommending the village council to approve the village manager to enter into a contract with Peerless Midwest Incorporated to overhaul and rebuild the pump motor of Village Water Well number 5 for an amount not to exceed $25,100. Peerless Midwest will pull the equipment out of the well, transport it to their facilities where they will overhaul the equipment to a like new condition. They will then reinstall the equipment, test it, and disinfect. There is sufficient dollars in the water fund, and this action will not increase utility rates.
This is Bill Adams. I'd move for approval of same.
Mr. Adams makes the motion.
Approving the village manager to sign the contract not to exceed $25,100.
Trustee Holmes, I support.
Support by Trustee Holmes.
So Trustee Keller, I'm assuming that this, for lack of a better term, part 2 or B motion is just a continuation. It'll completely, so we're not only cleaning that well, but we're also, like Randy had said earlier, they're going to pull that well off the motor and pump, take it in and rebuild it, refurbish it and everything else. So
just so we're clear, it'll be the screens and that get pulled on the motion that just passed.
right.
We, Peerless supplied us with 2 separate quotes, and of the criticality of both actions, recommended the cleaning of the well to take place now. And if it was determined that we would have to hold off due to finances or impact on overall village decisions, that the motor, the overhauling of the pump and motor could be delayed until the next fiscal year, next July. In looking at the fiscal situation and also just the logistics, it will not impact utility rates. So having it completed at the same time became more of an efficiency matter. And that's why we're recommending tonight to go ahead and complete both tasks.
Well, it's always cheaper to do it while they're there than to have them remobilize and go back out a year from now and do it then. So
we're hoping that's the case, and that's why both contracts were presented to us by Peerless as an amount not to exceed.
Right.
And Randy will contact them tomorrow if both motions pass, and then we'll update the council as it proceeds forward.
With all this work being done, what will the gallons per minute be after all the work is done?
Randy can go ahead and answer that.
This will be a total refurbish. Anything that has to be replaced will be. And then when they do that, they will test the well once again. And once I get the results from that, we'll be able to have that for the next council meeting, hopefully. And I'm sure it's going to bring it up.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Keller, real quick, just so the public knows, is this going to cause any disruption to water service at all, or?
Not at all.
Okay. I didn't think so, but I thought we should at least make everybody aware that this isn't going to cause any issues with people not having water. So
No, absolutely not.
Just another side note that a pump will run at a given point with a given horsepower. And when it starts to lose its efficiency, its wear capability inside itself, it'll just start using up more and more and more of the available horsepower and the flow won't drop off. So sometimes you don't see that flow drop until it's catastrophic and the thing fails. So that was part of my premise of leading up to it earlier, was the fact that it makes sense to look at that pump now, rebuild it now while it's out. And not throw it back in the hole when in 5 years there's going to be another rebuild involved. So, I think it's a good idea, definitely, to get it out, get it inspected, get it refurbished, and get everything back to where it should be. With that, so we'll do a roll call. We had a motion. A second.
Correct. Mr. Adams made the motion with trustee Holmes in support. It is agenda item 10D. David, to approve the village manager entering into a contract to overhaul the pump and motor associated with village water well number 5 in an amount not to exceed $25,100. Trustee Holmes,
Yes.
trustee Reister,
Yes.
trustee Keller,
Yes.
trustee Merrill,
Yes.
trustee Bailey,
Yes.
President Pro Temp Frisbee,
Yes.
and President Adams.
Yes.
Item number 10E, Edward, on the agenda is a contract not to exceed $24,700 for repairs, which are pipe replacements to the Spruce Street lift station, and the contract is with LD Doska. It's LDDOCSA, if I pronounce that wrong. The Spruce Street lift station needs a permanent fix that will replace the temporary repairs that were completed on an emergency basis 2 weeks ago. This is critical to ensure a further emergency does not occur due to pipe failure. During the emergency temporary repairs, it was discovered that a pipe installed had no protected coating applied at the time of installation. This could have contributed to the pipe failing. An emergency temporary patch was done 2 weeks ago. The repair will replace all pipe and associated connections to the pumps 1 and 2 and include pipe coating. The contract is an amount not to exceed $24,700. It's anticipated that the repairs will take from 3 to 5 days to complete, and upon approval of the council, are scheduled to begin tomorrow morning, Tuesday, September 22nd. It will not disrupt service. I will take this time to highlight the fact that the village began to prepare for situations like this 2 years ago, or almost 3 years ago, and we received a 50-50 match from the Vicksburg Foundation to purchase a portable pump that is large enough to do what we're doing in this situation, which is to transport the wastewater out of that lift station, pumping it down to the next available manhole while these repairs are being done. Prior to that time, we would have needed to secure a pump such as we have, with the closest one being in the city of Battle Creek. But I'd be happy to answer any additional questions.
Any other council questions? I have. What is the long-term plan for the Spruce Street station, lift station?
The Spruce Street lift station, due to capacity upgrades in the village of Vicksburg, would have additional work on the interior of it done in predictably within 3 to 5 year time frame. It is associated with any upgrades or improvement along Sprinkle Road that would transport Vicksburg wastewater directly to the city of Portage. So it would occur at that time.
So what, from our resident engineering experts on this, is a temporary patch will not last us 3 to 5 years?
Um,
I mean, it is really temporary.
Yeah, no, they, there was a discussion whether to, under the emergency ordinance that the village has, to expend the money originally. However, we didn't know the extent of the problem. Once they uncovered it and talking to representatives of the company, I made the decision that this patch could be placed here. And I equated it to any type of water pipe patch. They wouldn't guarantee how long it would last at all. And it's the last lift station in our line before heading up towards Portage. And it posed, if it broke, I'll use the word larger than a crack, it could cause severe problems for us. So that's where I made the decision to accept the permanent fix. This fix will, it's not like in 3 to 5 years there'll be different or larger pipes put down there. So this fix, the pipes they're putting, the section of pipe they're putting in will be the same come when those Sprinkle Road improvements are made.
Okay, thank you.
Jim, trustee Keller, you said the reason for this was that it was apparent that there was no protective coating at the time of installation. Have we identified any more of the piping that doesn't have any protective coating that's going to end up doing the same thing?
We would have to, we have to bring down each of the lift stations to the same level to inspect. I did talk to the company, as it was explained to me, that when a fork truck lifts those pipes up, sets them down and pulls off, it looked like the person who went down into the lift station, that fork truck scraped off the coating in that width of a fork truck run. I did talk to the company representative because part of the services they provide as well is to coat the well of the lift station to help prevent infiltration water or groundwater coming in, which we would pay ultimately for that clean groundwater to be transported into a treatment plant. But I'm going to pause here and see if Randy wants to add to the explanation of the other lift stations or anything on this one.
Yeah, the problem we had at Spruce Street was the discharge pipes, which are 8-inch, but they're sitting in wastewater all the time, and the gases down there just eat right through those things. You know, most of the pipe above and beyond that I'm sure are in good shape, but these portions of the pipe actually sit in the wastewater itself.
So you're saying they sit below the level of the suction of the pumps?
Yes, well, above, but I mean, the level of your lift station is, you know, probably 6 to 8 feet above those pumps, you know, so they're constantly in that environment.
Right.
But we need a permanent fix because this discharge pipe is going to be there forever or for that.
Exactly, but
Well, next time.
Yeah.
the pipes that were actually put in there originally
Yeah,
was never really coated properly.
yeah. Okay. I'm comfortable if Randy's comfortable.
Yep. I'll, if no other question, we'll entertain a motion.
Reister, I make a motion to authorize the village manager to enter into a contract not to exceed the amount of $24,700 with LD Doxa to make permanent repairs to the Spruce Street lift station.
Trustee Reister with the motion.
I'll support that. Bailey.
Trustee Bailey with the support. Hearing no other comments,
We'll
I will
a
take-
roll.
take a roll call on agenda item 10E Edward, a contract not to exceed $24,700 for pipe replacement repairs to the Spruce Street lift station. Trustee Bailey,
Yes.
trustee Merrill,
Yes.
trustee Keller,
Yes.
trustee Holmes,
Yes.
President Pro Temp Frisbee,
Yes.
trustee Reister,
Yes.
President Adams.
Yes.
We will, the motion passes. We will have one other council action item that will come under the Director of Community Engagement, Mr. Alex Lee's report. I did want to take this time under the village manager's report to upgrade the council and our public on a few items. First is, we were contacted by representatives from AEP, reference our street lights in town. We do have 205 street lights in town that AEP will be upgrading with LED lighting. This is at no cost to the village and the municipality. There should be a savings, certainly in the use of power to light the village. However, under legislative action, the company can charge us equal to what we're paying, and then there is a formula they use if it goes down in the future. And that work will start in the next month. On this agenda item, we're looking for probably a motion made and support for AEP to conduct this work. I think it is a absolutely excellent thing in the conservation of energy power. We don't have any cost associated with it, as well as the lighting of the village. My plan is to contact them tomorrow that we have support from the village council. It's a little bit different because it's not support meaning needed for approval. But they did want, I advised them when I met, I think Randy, we met with them last week or the week before, that I would take it to the council and receive feedback from the council. So be happy to answer.
Clarification. The village replaced its street lights downtown to LED. These lights are, my understanding is, in the Allen Edmonds area and other areas outside the downtown area.
It's throughout the remainder of the village. All the other,
They're utility owned.
yeah,
Utility owned. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
yeah. So the
Where
village,
lights downtown were village lights, and we replaced those ourselves.
Right.
correct.
Oh.
And the 205 lights I mentioned are the utility lighting within the village.
For lack of a better term, they're called barn lights. So,
Okay.
did they, Jim, the utility company, tell you how long a time frame they're going to charge the village the same kilowatt rate for usage?
Well, in the discussion, there are multiple lights within the village historically that the power company was not compensated for, and there are other lights that we were probably charged too much for. And he provided examples from other communities that did this 2 years ago, and their following subsequent year, their rates were reduced by about 8%, but he certainly emphasized and highlighted the fact that wasn't guaranteed, but it was in this area or Southwest Michigan, a trend that it would be reduced, but they just weren't, it wasn't by legislative act, it's not required.
Right. The only reason I'm asking is because they're going to see a 75% savings over what they're currently putting out there to light the streets. So
Yeah, he told me that their initial investment on changing all the lights was about $1.1 million.
for here in Vicksburg,
No, I think, and I think that's for this region.
okay.
But this sounds like, based on what you're saying, Carl, are we, taking an 8% savings versus doing this and
Well,
getting a bigger bang?
well, we don't have a say in it because these are utility owned fixtures.
Yeah.
So, but it's okay. I'm just asking questions because I know how utilities are. And, so there's no cost. It'll be a better quality light than we have now. The maintenance costs will drop off substantially for them. And we'll maintain the light levels on the streets that we haven't been, because the HID that we have currently, they after a couple of years, they start dropping off in effectiveness. So.
Yeah, and in discussing it with the company representative, I actually came away not feeling there was one negative thing to what they were suggesting.
I think
No,
it sounds
there's
like a good idea. Makes sense.
Jim,
I'm with Carl on the sense of the comment that he made about at what point in time do we stop paying the full price, the mitigated price? At what point in time do we, the village, start to see some relief from that? So you're thinking that it could possibly drop off enough to where even at our full rate, we could get a discount off of the current fees? I mean, that's how much energy it'll save.
Is a question for Mr. Keller or for me?
Whomever my resident expert is.
Well, I'm not going to jump on the lily pad of resident expert. I'm just kind of the messenger. He explained to me that he didn't use the 75% figure. He said there would be a substantial energy reduction in the use of energy, and that energy would be able to be used elsewhere. On round numbers, the village pays between $2,000 and $2,100 a month to light the streets. We had a discussion on, I believe, what Trustee Keller just re-emphasized for me. The quality of lighting within the village will be dramatic in his explanation.
Just so you know, the rule of thumb typically is you're going to save 75% over traditional HID lighting by going with LED. Here in town, we went to a 37 watt LED, and I think we had 150 watt sodiums. If Randy corrects me, maybe I think they were 150 watt, but the rule of thumb is 75%. That's not a hard and fast, but Jim, the only thing I would request is if you have an input on what color rating that they put up, I would make sure it's a 4,000 K at least.
Okay.
Don't have them go 5,000 K because you're going to have residents that are not going to be happy.
Okay. And I can give him a call, Randy, or I'll contact him tomorrow, and I'll report back by email because I don't have that to memory. Or I don't have the memory that we even discussed that type of thing.
Well, they have a choice on what color they can put up. And I'm just saying, if you put 5,000 K up in these neighborhoods, you're going to have a lot of people not happy because it's going to be way too bright.
Carl, is that the blue light?
Pardon me?
Is it where it's like what they call daylight, where it's blue?
Yes.
I don't think people like it either. When you see headlights coming down the road and they're those bluey lights, they're really,
They're blinding.
yeah, they're awful.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to go into the weeds in it, but
No, I appreciate it.
It's important.
Yeah, I would like to make a motion for a resolution by the village council to put our support behind the village manager getting with AEP and having them switch out our existing HID lighting to new LED street lights at no cost to us.
Is there support?
I'll support it. Reister.
And Reister. And the roll call vote would be Trustee Holmes,
Yes.
President Pro Temp Frisbee,
Yes.
Trustee Bailey,
Yes.
Trustee Merrill,
Yes.
Trustee Reister,
Yes.
President Adams,
Gone again.
Trustee Bailey.
I think you already got me, but yes.
All right. Sure, I'll try President Adams.
Got himself muted.
Okay, and Trustee Keller.
Yes.
And I see Bill an affirmative hand signal, but can you hear us, Bill?
Yes, I can hear you now.
And your vote on this issue, sir?
Yes.
President Adams is a yes. Thank you very much. Also, I wanted to update everyone on our infrastructure project. We do have a pre-construction meeting scheduled for September 25th, 2020. It'll be our initial meeting with the company that will be facilitating the work involving contracts 1 and 3 that were approved by the council. And we will continually update. We're kind of in a team effort. Michelle and I are really focused on the financing, with working with the financial team, the engineers, and the attorneys. And it's refreshing to have Mr. Alex Lee. He will be with the ball of communication and consistent and thoroughly transparent communication as we really begin this work and start to lay out a timetable of it being initiated and completed. The other item involving the infrastructure loan is we worked, I felt very well and diligently to ensure that the village would be able to close this loan in this quarter at historic low interest rates of 1.5%. We have scheduled that closing to occur September 29th, 2020. By doing that, over the original estimates, it will save the village $5.1 million over the course of time of this loan. So that closing is set to occur on September 29, 2020. And at the first council meeting, in every council meeting subsequent, we will update this council in public in great detail as to the progress of that exciting project. I'm going to pause there because those two items are connected if council has any questions. And we also have and sent a link, and we'll have a link established on our website, but I'm proud that we have reached another level of transparency. It's obviously a very unique year and has been since March 16th with a pandemic. But a quick refresher, our goal about 2 years ago, we said we were going to start to stream governmental meetings to become interactive with our community. We initiated that in January, and about 5 or 6 meetings later, a worldwide pandemic arrived in this community. We have moved forward. We have recorded our Zoom meetings. And within that, we have now established a YouTube channel for a Vicksburg government. And we have put the council meetings since July, the regular meeting of July, the regular meeting of August, the special meeting of August. on this YouTube page. And we also put the most recent planning commission. We will continue to record Zoom meetings, including the Parks and Rec. And that YouTube channel is where anyone with access to the World Wide Web can go to YouTube, our channel on YouTube, and review in the entirety our governmental meetings. And we will continue to do that when we all get to meet back in person, whenever that is, and we have the streaming capabilities. But we wanted to update the council and public that that is live and active on YouTube. And I'll pause there if there's any questions.
When you go to YouTube, what do you type in then?
You can type in, that's why we have a good team, I believe, a type of Vicksburg, Michigan government or Vicksburg government, Michigan will get you there. But I will email a link to all the council members, and it will be on our website where you can click on that link and it'll direct you right there.
Oh, great. Thank you.
And was there any other questions or comments?
Please,
Okay.
Jim.
All right. On 11E, and let me, 2 weeks ago, I was notified that the current issuer of building permits and inspections is retiring, and that they would not be in a position to issue new building permits or the associated inspections related to them. We have had South Central Michigan Construction Code inspections involved for, I think, almost a year now with the mill project, as well as the associated Paper City buildings downtown. That's just in the last few weeks, and have been very, very pleased with their services they've provided. And we have it's the council's, we're certainly, it's our recommendation to the council that we continue this relationship with South Central Michigan Construction Code Inspection. It's a governmental entity formed by member townships, cities, and villages, providing full-time responsive code inspections since 1997. They're a not-for-profit organization of municipalities. The SCMCCI inspections are performed by their full-time state-registered inspectors with a priority of providing professional service to municipalities across the state. They currently provide these services in 7 counties to over 50 municipalities on a next day inspection format. The next day full-time service has allowed SCMCCI to grow and is ready to expand to additional areas. Chris Hamilton, in dealing with, I've been very comfortable in the fact that she will represent our municipality very well, ensure the building codes are followed as it should be, and take appropriate actions when they're not. They are out of Athens right now with the situation we're in. We will handle everything virtually and have anyone needing inspections to contact their company directly. Another positive thing in this relationship is that all of the payments in that will stay in the way that they're set up, where before we used to have administrative expenses by staff taking time. That'll no longer be necessary. But I'll be happy to answer any questions the council might have.
Is there any concern with their locality to us in getting inspections done?
No.
Direct interface with them?
No, they're very responsive, and it's a next, like it said, a next day type service or scheduling. I think it is client friendly, and there's not a ton of companies out there doing this. But again, I looking at their track record, they service Brady and Schoolcraft Township. I think what they bring to the village in their oversight in the permit process and following the building code will do this municipality well.
Any other questions for Mr. Mallory? Well, as President Pro Tem, can I make a motion?
It would,
Probably
as a
not.
conductor of the
I'll entertain a
meeting,
motion, if anybody so chooses.
I'll make a motion that we make the change in our building inspector as recommended by the village manager.
President
And
Adams,
I think it's a wise decision.
is there support for President Adams' motion?
I'll support that, Bailey.
Trustee Bailey with the support. If there's not additional comments, I'll begin roll call. Trustee Bailey,
Yes.
Trustee Holmes,
Yes.
Trustee Reister,
Yes.
Trustee Merrill,
Yes.
Trustee Keller,
Yes.
President Adams,
Yes.
President Pro Temp Frisbee.
Yes.
Motion passes. I'd like to thank you for that. I'm now going to turn over, as I said, it's been a pretty busy 10-week stretch here. So it's, I can't say thanks enough to the whole staff. I think we'll have some positive information related to other work coming up at the next council meeting. But it's been a team effort, and part of that is having Alex Lee just spearhead the whole social district opportunity in front of the village, and really taking in, as we presented on August 17th to the council and listened actively to your suggestions and recommendations. So at this point, I'll turn it over to Alex Lee. I do want the council to know that we have, as part of the meeting, our village attorney, Andrew Horn, as well. But Alex, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. Tonight, we bring to the council staff's recommendation on creating a social district in downtown Vicksburg. We've done a lot of research, talked to a number of communities, and listened to a great deal of input. Before we take a look at our proposed district map, I will ask our legal counsel, Andrew Horn, to discuss the legal statutes and constructs under which we bring this recommendation forward this evening. Andrew?
Thank you, Alex. So in July 1st of 2020, the governor signed into order a new statute, which is part of the Michigan Liquor Control Code of 1998. It is just a small part of the liquor code, but it's with the idea that it allows a social district or commons area to be created. And we went through it, and there's a number of guidelines throughout the actual statute. We implemented each of them into a plan, which we'll talk about here in a moment, and really tried to stay right in line with that. Everything that we do in reliance on that statute and everything that we plan has to be submitted to the MLCC for its approval. Any permanent changes in the future that we decide to make, it must be submitted back to the MLCC for approval, or at the very least, they have to be notified of any changes there, including expansion or reduction of the district itself. So Currently, there's 23, or as of the end of last week, there were 23 municipalities taking advantage of this. And by taking advantage, I mean they'd submitted and had received approved plans from the MLCC, and they were taking applications and submitting permits to the MLCC for each license holder who wanted to participate. So with that said, Alex, if it's okay with you, I just want to talk about the plan that we created just briefly and then turn it back over to you. So the plan that we created was drafted based on a number of other municipalities who are doing the same thing. We kind of looked through each of those and said, hey, what's going to work for the village of Vicksburg? And what do we want to implement similar to that? So we started with the plan and kind of did a history there, as would be common in the introduction, and talked about the statutory authority to implement this plan. In the management, we obviously have the village in charge of this because it's on sidewalks. It could come back to the village again if there's permits to shut down roads or anything of the sort. Now, that's not part of the plan. I don't want you to think it's shut down every Friday at 4 o'clock or anything like that. That would be an extreme case and brought to the village council for their attention. Questions about this would go to the village manager. Jim's been involved with every one of our meetings and helped spearhead this, so he's well aware of what's going on. And just as importantly, he's contacted the MLCC on a number of occasions, as well as other municipalities, kind of find out more information about social districts in general, and then in figuring out what would work for us. The district and common areas have to be marked out. They have to be physically marked, so signs work. We've looked at other examples of what types of signs would go up. Additionally, basically, people have to know when they're coming in and when they're leaving the social district or the commons area where they can take alcohol from one bar to another, but not enter the other bars. The whole idea is if somebody purchases a drink at one bar, they can walk anywhere in the commons area as long as they don't enter another licensed or unlicensed establishment. Many municipalities are doing this. So for example, if there was entertainment, a band or something at Oswald Park there, you could take a drink from your bar in specially designated cups and walk down, socialize when we're allowed to socialize again, and enjoy the entertainment. It really, as Mrs. Coney said, it was an opportunity for social gatherings, really an opportunity to offer something else here at the village. So just going on quickly, there's 5 license holders within our current district. Obviously, there's consideration for more in the future, and this plan can be expanded. The boundaries can be expanded at that time if the council desires and the permits are obtained from the state. So at this time, we have the non-alcoholic establishments can't allow alcohol from the social district into their establishments. I know there's been some discussion with other cities about whether you can do this for purposes of shopping. At the moment, the village is erring on the side of caution, especially from an actual conversation with a representative of the MLCC who believed it is not allowed per the statute. So the hours of operation, it's going to run currently as drafted from January 1st to December 31st, so all year, with beginning at 4 o'clock each day. The last drink that could be sold for the commons area would be sold prior to 10 p.m., with the commons area shutting down at 11 p.m., which basically gives people an hour to finish drinking and move back into a licensed establishment. We found this is probably pretty common in other municipalities, but But in talking with the license holders here in Vicksburg, it seemed to work well with their input there. So any changes to the commons area, or excuse me, the hours of operation would have to be done through the village council. I know in talking about it here in a moment, or special events would be a big one, and we wanted to address that separately. The MLCC, again, this is all subject to their approval, but the idea would be it could be adjusted based on what the village council wants and wouldn't have to go immediately back to the MLCC as long as it wasn't a permanent adjustment of this plan. As I indicated, the district would need to be designated. Signs are sufficient, but obviously we're going to take into account what the MLCC considers a responsible marking there. So financing for the social district, we found that the cups that are going to be used in the commons area should be able to cover the majority of the costs, if not all the costs that are involved here. The idea is there's a specially designated cup that is at every licensed establishment that has a permit for the social district. On each one of those cups, there's also a sticker or some type of designation so you can see exactly which establishment you received it from. So you're not going to have people walking downtown with a red Solo cup or a can of beer and say, hey, listen, where'd you get that from? If that's the case, then it's clearly not from one of the licensed establishments. And at that point, it's an open intox. So the social district logo and beverage containers, we talked about that briefly. The security and enforcement in the commons area is going to be provided by the Vicksburg Police Department. And I'm sure Chief Sanderson can talk to that, but we definitely wanted it and sought his input on that. The insurance would be under the liability insurance plan of the village under their umbrella policy. And we'd be making sure that the insurance companies are aware of exactly what's going on. But it's the common way to ensure any additional liability, if any. The sanitation, there has to be clearly marked or approved or placed sanitary trash cans at the beginning of each or throughout the district and at each establishment. This offers the opportunity for people coming from one establishment to the other to finish their drink and leave it in the trash appropriately. And the following day, if obviously DPW, and we saw Mr. Skipper's help there, his input as to how we can or where we can place these. So entertainment and food trucks and special events are the last two items in the plan, and those are the bigger ones. The idea would be if we have an event that the village council says, oh, you know what, we don't need to make this an event for drinking or anything of the sort, then the village council has the ability to, with a proper meeting and showing proper notification, to shut the social district down. It also allows the village the comfort of knowing that any type of special event where there's drinking involved downtown and that is permitted, they're not part, nor are they allowed to be part of the social district. So you can't take a drink from a bar into an event, nor can you take an event drink under a tent or anything like that out into the social district. The statute doesn't allow for that. So I'm happy to answer any questions as is Mr. Lee. So.
I have a question. I'm wondering, when Jim was showing us the printout of what you were talking about, at one point I thought I read that it was going to start like May 1st or something like that until October 31st. But then I heard you say it was going to be from January 1st to December 31st. What is the difference there?
Excuse me, Mr. Lee, I didn't know if you wanted to chime in there or if you'd like me to answer.
You can go ahead, Andrew, or I can supplement.
Okay, so I think Mr. Mallory and Mr. Lee had received feedback regarding other municipalities as well as individuals here in the village, including the bar owners, the licensed establishments. And the idea was it's a social function. The reality is there's probably not going to be a great deal of use of this in the winter months. But again, the village council, if you find that there's any issues whatsoever, can limit the time period, the dates, or anything along those lines.
But right now, you're proposing from January 1st to December 31st.
Correct, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Holmes would just like to first start by commending Jim, Alex, Mr. Horn, as well as staff. For those of us that participated in the council meeting on August 17th, and I would invite those that did not to go to YouTube and look at the video, because what you'll see is that this council actually did ask some very direct questions to staff, and staff actually responded. Not that I had any question you wouldn't, but this document that you've prepared for us, the outline that Andrew and Alex went through, is comprehensive, it's detailed, and I have at least 20 areas where I put answered my question, because it's exactly what we need for something like this. The gentleman that spoke earlier about this at the beginning of the council meeting, totally inaccurate in almost everything he said about this, because simply when you look at this, it addresses a very responsible, a very robust, a very comprehensive way that we can go out and we can not only support businesses, but also be it in a very responsible way, in a very progressive way. And when you look at what this village is doing in the next 5 years, folks, if you don't get it, 2 years ago, the council voted for something. It's called change. Change is coming. This is it. This is what the community is going to do. We're going to evolve over time to be a destination for others to come here and to enjoy what we all already know, which is Vicksburg's a pretty darn good place to be. And so I can't say it enough, again, that this is comprehensive. I'm going to share it with folks that I see. If anybody would like to talk with me directly about this that is listening, please challenge this council or me on this, because I feel very positive about this right here. And the fact that we're going to do something like this, I think speaks a lot for this community and what we want it to be. Not only what it is today, but the fact that we have to acknowledge one thing, and that is this community is going to change in the next 2, 3, 5, 100 years. People are coming. They're going to want to see this community in all of its glory today, but we're also going to grow to support those businesses that are coming. And so I apologize to my fellow trustees for pontificating there, but I feel it's important, again, for those that have not participated in this discussion or has gone and met individually with Mr. Mallory and Mr. Lee, to have them ask us, what are your concerns? What are your questions? And they did that with the entire council. And I know the entire council provided a long laundry list of things, which they again covered in this right here. So thank you again to the village manager and staff. I sincerely appreciate it.
Thank you for that, Rick. I see somebody's expanding the boundaries as we're talking. What?
Yes, we made an addition this morning or over the weekend and tried to get it on the map this morning. But in talking to Taco Bob, he certainly wanted the social district to extend to his business. So we did extend just around the corner on Washington headed west. to include that establishment. So now you are looking at the corrected map. My apologies.
So there are that correction that needs to take place. In the operations of the operational hours and dates, that's going to change also to what's published. Will it be May 1 to October 31?
Well, I can switch it. Let me see here. This is my area on the screen shared. Trying to think brevity, but when you hit the shared screen, I just hit the wrong one, and I tried to get it to an updated one from Andrew Horn, but I was worried I was going to shut down the whole darn meeting. So
You already passed
but
it.
yeah, the document, and I'll turn it back to Alex, but the document Andrew has January 1 to December 31st. And that
Okay.
change was simply, I made the decision. One of the executive orders ends October 31st this year. And with it being an unknown, and the fact that we can suspend this by council action at any time, and we're entering a period with 2 meetings a month, I felt more comfortable.
The one thing also, Mr. Lee, can you just confirm?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to, I have to figure out who's, are we still here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did everyone else get that loud music?
No.
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 But, well,
You're just
Mr. Horn,
lucky.
I'm by the time we really gotta get back to normal in person, because I'm gonna start filming behind me at what goes on in this control center.
Mr. Mallory?
Yes, sir.
Holmes, can I just, Mr. Lee, can you please just confirm for council that there are no parking lots that are included in the social district?
There are no parking lots. There would be some parking spaces along Prairie and Main Street, but the parking lots have all been eliminated.
Also, can you confirm that as it relates to any of the entities that serve alcohol, that those those businesses or individuals that decide, if Trustee Merrill decide to walk out of her loft and carry a beverage down the street, that's not allowed. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct.
So there is no public intoxicants that people can bring into this. This is very controlled. It is the businesses that serve alcohol to legal adults. They do it legally. It's done. Can you just confirm the hours again that this is going to be, Mr. Lee?
Yes, the social district will open at 4 p.m. The last drink sold out of an establishment will be 10 p.m. and the social district will close at 11 p.m.
So for 6 hours, we will have a social district, and then obviously there's the additional hour for folks to get about their business and move on, then, it sounds like.
That is correct. That's our proposal to begin. As Mr. Horn mentioned, the council will reserve the right to extend or restrict hours if the discussion or the need arises.
Right. And that's one of the things that actually I really like about this, is that we have the ability to respond to how this progresses, and also within the community. We don't know what additional businesses may open up in the community, or, you know, the fire station could be the Fire Station Tavern for all we know, right? I mean, I'm just exaggerating there, but my point is that this is what my I think one of the concerns that I really had was, if we agree to something, is it defined, or is there the ability to amend it And I think that that's one of the things that I'm happy to hear is that whether it's this council or future councils, we have the ability to, you know, if we don't want during a certain event, if we want to close this, I think that's great that there is that ability. So I think there's a lot of restraint that's shown in this proposal that's been written.
Yeah, thank you, Rick. That was my point earlier, and the fact that we've given ourselves the flexibility. We're not painting ourselves into a corner. You know, we've given ourselves the flexibility to one. I wanted the clarification in year round because that's what we had discussed. You know, the discussions have come up in the past about Christmas, the parade in town. Some say yay, some say no. So let's give ourselves the opportunity to get this thing rolling. Make sure all of our permitted liquor license holders can actually do this. They have to get approved. It doesn't really matter what we give them the area, but they have to have the approvals to make it work. So this is a fluid project. This is a fluid document. We can change it at any given time. You know, our team here will just, things don't work, we can amend it. If they work better and we want to expand it, we can do that too. So even though it's in writing, it's still very flexible. And
What's the
so
startup date? What's the startup date?
That would depend on approval from the Michigan Liquor Control Commission.
Okay.
Yeah, if I can add, the timeline would be tonight's motion or action would be for staff to submit it to the state for the village to receive approval of the district. We would hope those liquor establishments within our community would be submitting parallel approval request. And as soon as it's received by the state, they've been seeing a within 30-day turnaround from the state. So
Thank you, Jim.
So if I could just clarify one thing, right now you can submit the municipality's application or designation online. And what we've heard is it's taken about 3 to 4 weeks, but it's the state, so you never can be 100% certain of that. And the license holders with their permit must submit that notice to the village council so that you know when a permit is being sent over to state for each individual holder as well. So
I just had a comment. Being in downtown Vicksburg at 200 South Main during Christmas in the village, believe me, there's a lot of like 2 parents with the kids and one of the parents is drinking, not both. Lots of alcohol out there. It's just in the future, maybe not this year, it would give people an opportunity to patronize the local drinking establishments instead of bringing their own booze. So this year it probably won't happen, it sounds like, but it seems like it's happening anyway. And so it's just a way to capture the local market here. That's it.
good comment, Julie.
Yeah, I didn't know that was happening, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Look at the garbage cans the next day.
I probably won't do that, but
No, just when you're walking.
okay, yeah, maybe when I'm
You're
walking.
walking.
All right.
Are there any other questions for the village manager? All right, I think we should move on to citizens' comments for non-agenda
Well,
items.
Mr. Frisbee, need a motion if,
Very
and a
good.
support on if the council desires us to submit this to the state.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'd entertain a motion.
This is Adams. I'd like to make a motion that the staff submit the application to the state.
Reister support.
Mr. President Adams has made the motion to instruct the staff to submit to the MLCC of the state of Michigan the presented social district plan along with the accompanying common area map supported by Trustee Reister. We will take roll call. Trustee Keller.
Yes.
Trustee Holmes.
An enthusiastic yes.
Trustee Merrill.
yes.
Trustee Reister,
Yes.
President Adams,
Yes.
Trustee Bailey,
Yes.
President Pro Temp Frisbee.
Yes,
Motion passes.
motion passes. All right. All I can say is, I know we'll all do well. I don't screw it up.
Yep.
So now we move on to citizens' comments for non-agenda items. If you, at the bottom of your window, you just raise your hand. If there's anybody out there, Jim will
Yeah,
connect.
we have a couple in a total of about, I think 7 people I don't recognize, so I might go ahead and hit them one-on-one. I did see Ryan Wagner's, and I'll certainly come to you, sir, as well as Jackie Coney. But I'm going to real quick ask, I think Denny Olson is on the phone, if he wishes to unmute and say anything.
Hi, Jim. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Mr. Olson.
I wanted to thank the council for their support of our Vicksburg Vintage Market. We just had our last show yesterday, and we had a fine turnout. This is the 4th and final show of the season. We have submitted a list for the next 2 years of dates, and we hope to have the show again. I appreciate the support from the council. Randy Skippers, he's been over backwards. The ladies in the office have been great. Alex Lee, I appreciate all his input, and he has shopped it several times. Mr. Mallory did show up yesterday with his lovely wife. And if it wasn't for Mr. Mallory supporting this, this would have never happened. I came up with the idea 5 years ago as a fundraiser for the historical village. They never took it. When the Centerville Antique Show closed, we decided to move ahead with it, and we were a little leery about it. You're always afraid. It's like a birthday party. You send out lots of invitations, and who's going to show up? Well, lots of people showed up, and we're very happy with it. In fact, we're talking about expanding even more, and we had at least 2 citizens inquire about renting the pavilion. One was for an antique radio show, and another one was for another like craft type event. And I directed them towards Mr. Mallory in the village. So, but I wanted to thank everybody very much. We appreciate your support, and we plan on moving ahead even more. So thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Olson, I forgot to ask you for the purposes of the meeting, can you state your address, please?
Yes, it's 1113 Winter Cherry, Vicksburg. We're in the Trillium plat.
Okay, thank you. And moving on my screen, there is a person listed as Deb and Doug. I'm not sure if you have something to say or not. I'll give you the opportunity. Okay, now I think it's Mr. Steers, 350-1755. On the phone call 350-1755. I'll ask again if you have something for non-agenda citizen comment time. I do not have a response there. And Ms. Coney, I'll turn the floor over to you. And if you can say your address, please.
Yes, currently I'm at 234 West Highway Street. This is Jackie Coney. And I don't know if Sid Bastos might be on the call or not, but I just wanted to make a plug for the upcoming Destination Venezuela thing that the VCAC is putting on. It seems like a really cool event, and actually some really high level speakers and artists that are going to be involved. And Friday there's going to be a Zoom evening with like poetry being read and that kind of thing. And Sunday it sounds like it's going to be great. So Sunday from 12 to 8 there'll be demonstrations and chalk art and a food truck of Venezuelan food and an artist speaking and all sorts of cool things. And then I think it closes out on October 3rd. So I just wanted to put a plug in as another downtown great activity. And the last food truck rally was so awesome. And now we have a food truck again and art. So I hope lots of people will come. That was it. Thanks.
Thank you. And now Mr. Wagner, thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Jim. Just a few comments. Gentleman earlier said, never has this village. And I think those are the type of people that we really need to engage, because they're the ones that are just not getting the message and they're not on board. And, that's the discussion and the ideas that we need to bring forward to keep moving forward, be progressive and improve the village for everybody. But really, I want to thank council staff for being open-minded, forward-thinking. I love everything that's been going on tonight. This is fantastic. Oh, and sorry, 1025 Odell Farm Lane is my address. Got that in there. And food truck on Sunday. Yeah, that's going to be awesome with the Destination Venezuela. So looking forward to it with the VCAC.
Thank you, Mr. Wagner. And I believe we've gone around now and asked everyone.
Hello.
Mr.
Hello.
Mr. Stairs?
Oh, yeah. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It must have been a technical difficulty. Can I have my 3 minutes?
Yes, you can. So you do know I did call on you a couple times, but if you just state your address again and then go ahead for your comments.
5786 East UV Avenue. I really didn't appreciate it being called a liar by whoever the lady was that followed me. I'd like to read from the South County News article, which every single person in this room reads all the time. And frankly, it was the same article that allowed this project to go forward. And when the lady called me a liar in terms of the $1.1 million being spent by county taxpayers, let's just quote the South County News. The preservation effort has been aided by Kalamazoo County Treasurer Mary Bachma, who has awarded a bid for about $1.1 million for roof work to protect the asset and prevent further deterioration of the east and west wings as well as the north end. Mary Bachma may have $1 million, but she didn't spend that for that roof. Every single person in this room knows that the person who called me a liar was not telling the truth. Yet they allowed them to call me a liar because they did not want to go up against the very person that is involved in this mill project. When we spend $30 million here in the outlying areas and in Vicksburg to make it electrical improvements, and only the mill benefits from it, or when we spend the amount of money that you're about to spend on Sprinkle Road, and you folks want us on Sprinkle Road to pay for your pipe improvements, why would we not think that you folks really don't give a crap about anybody except the people that are trying to get this project done? 96 people along Sprinkle Road, and that are involved in this project, yet you won't talk about it during your meetings. That 8-inch pipe that comes out of that Spruce Street lift station goes to another 10-inch pipe, which then gets reduced to another 8-inch pipe going up Sprinkle Road. We know darn well that you can't afford that project unless you, again, get into our pockets like whoever tried to call me a liar earlier claimed that you aren't, to get that project done. We want to know if you are going to force us into sewers along Sprinkle Roads in the surrounding neighborhoods. Tell us now. Don't sit there and lie and have other people put us down and then say, well, gee, I don't even know anything about it.
Okay,
Please
well, sir, your time is up.
I've got 17 seconds left.
Yeah,
and that's what you do. That's what you do to people. No, that's what you do to people. You cut me off 17 seconds earlier, and that's what you guys do. Shameful.
And you're a proud resident of this village, I assume. No.
I don't need to be a resident of this village at all. I'm a South County resident, my friend.
Well, then
I'm a member of this community.
Township leaders.
I'm off.
We have no desire. I have had never one discussion about incorporating and forcing anybody outside of this village to join the sewer system. I have no idea what's being discussed.
Then quit. Then every time we ask about what.
It's,
Did we lose somebody?
I apologize. I broke
it's,
protocol. I shouldn't have responded like that, but his time is up, and personally, I have no idea what he's talking about.
if the council desires, I mean, I think I'll be happy. I have met with Mr. Steers multiple times in the past, and quite simply, when it involves our infrastructure system, our sewers, his comments related to Sprinkle Road are simply, when I say not accurate, I believe Mr. Steers is going on information outside of this jurisdiction, outside of myself and my staff. But never once has staff engaged with another municipality to have sewer hookups from people outside this village onto that system. This council specifically has made it quite clear to me as the village manager that we are to make the village of Vicksburg, that's the current boundaries of the village of Vicksburg, the absolute best we can make that. It's unfortunate. I've certainly witnessed it in other public meetings. I always offer Mr. Steers, he has my cell number, email. He can reach out anytime, be happy to continue to meet with them and be fully transparent. You know, I think it's part of, if I can, and I don't want to go too long to belabor it, but it goes back to what Mr. Wagner also said. Vicksburg has moved quite a distance in the last little bit with a vision of the next few years that are grand, but it's grand within our boundaries. And the transparency from our finances to entire meetings being online and accessible to our citizens and to everyone. I will, in the past, I'm going to conclude with this because I could talk a long time on some of this, but I think it's important to state. I met Jackie Coney sometime in 2016 and have as much respect for her and passion for this community and passion for that project. I can't deliver any more respect than I have for Jackie. She never once, in my listening, and I think I was actively listening, ever once called anyone a liar. And I frankly haven't heard her make comments like that a bit. So I think those accusations were quite unfortunate. And I think I go back to what my mom tells me pretty much every time I talk to her. It's a time in America and in Michigan and our little old towns to put more energy individually into treating other people with kindness and respect, actively listening, and we can all do our little part to make this world in a difficult time a little bit better. So I'll turn it back to you, Mr.
Well
Frisbee.
said, Jim. Thank you.
Yeah, and we shouldn't be so quick to, absolutely. And it is, it's, we always can communicate better. I said to her, listen to this, and how did we miss the communication? How did I miss what he assumes is going on? But there's always room for improvement, no doubt. Well, this is President's time. Seeing how
Hey, I'm going to change the tone of things. We had an extremely successful Bike Fall Festival at the Pavilion in conjunction with the Vintage Art Fair swap meet that was going on. We had over 100 people show for the blues concert at the Gilmore Car Museum. It was a drive-in. And then we had 125 bikers with the restrictions we had from COVID show up and take rides of upwards to 100 miles, and some of them went the 100 miles and then the Quilt Trail. So The event was very successful from fundraising to food raising. The participants brought jars of Skippy peanut butter, and we'll have money distributed to Generous Hands, Vicksburg Community Services, and Los and Fishes as proceeds from the event. So it went off real well in today's environment. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Gale?
I guess I really don't have anything to add. That would be useful.
Okay. Alan?
I'm good too, Tim. We'll bite our tongue tonight.
Rick?
I would like to just let the council know what we already know about Mr. Adams, and that is Bill is involved in a lot of things, folks. He's doing a great job behind the scenes, and I can tell you that this bike festival, Bill's fingerprints were all over it, whether it's fundraising, whether it was out putting signs up. I mean, Bill, just want to thank you for, as always, being a champion of the community and really helping drive this second annual event to be as successful as it is. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you for the comments.
Julie?
I'm just glad I got through this meeting because my internet kept acting faulty. So so I'm glad it worked out. And thank you, Bill, for the bike celebration thing. I did throw a few vintage bikes out there during these COVID times. I don't know what else you can do, but you did a good job.
Yep. It turned out to be better than expected.
Mr. Carl?
Just want to say, Bill, thanks a lot for all you did with the bike festival. The Lions Club did have a very successful golf outing on Saturday. Had 100 and some teams out there. So
great.
Nobody got hurt. It was a good thing. No trees were damaged. So
good deal.
Well, I myself will make it brief. I want to thank Denny Olson with his diligence with the antique fair, getting out there for shows. And I look to seeing him grow that business. That's pretty cool. And thanks to the Prairie Ronde Arts for the Pamela Hadley and what she did over the week or last Tuesday. It was pretty neat to go down and enjoy the village and stroll the village and walk around talking with friends and enjoying good art. And most of all, I am so excited to say, and Jim, where did you find the garden fairy that cleaned up Liberty Lane east and west? I know I complained about it. Whatever you did is awesome. It looks beautiful down there. Whoever did it, give them our heartfelt gratitude, and tell them we've got other areas to work on. It's View Avenue, and looking at our village sign coming into the village, and it's looking a little in need now. So you've just opened up Pandora's box with landscaping. So
we'll go ahead and pass that along to that individual. I think the other two won't mind me saying it was not myself, Alex Lee, or Randy Skippers, but we will pass the word along.
It looks fantastic. Thank you very much. And barring any others, questions, comments, or concerns, we'll call this meeting adjourned.
And Jeff, I'll stick on the meeting if you have questions. So just stick on here